Zayla, and I, we have an interest in sociology, and you learn how much society's check or stamp influences people's actions. Personally, I have always seen insecurities occur when I feel like in some way, form, or fashion somebody receives a consequence for being different. Whether that's through bullying, whether that's through, self-image, there's some type of negative reinforcement that makes you feel that way about yourself, which I feel like insecurities and social standards are directly connected to each other, because typically that consequence is coming from society.
Right.
Now, okay, y'all tell me how y'all, and I hate to say this, and I don't want to be that person.
Be that person.
Be that person.
Be that person. Go ahead.
Honestly, I have never really, there's things that I wish like were different, right? But at what point does something become an insecurity, right? I feel like everybody has points of, I wish this was like this, or in an ideal world this would be like this, but it doesn't fester and create harm for me. For example, y'all know I hate my side profile, right? But it is what it is. It's what I got, and I'm gonna work with it. I'm gonna get this money regardless, right?
Today, big regardless how you feel.
Right. So
Vibes only.
the question now is, at what point does a desire or a want turn into an insecurity? It's the hypocrisy of it all for me.
Yeah.
Because when we deal, like Jonah brought up, for women or men who have insecurities about their weight because a petite shape or being, having a certain look is deemed acceptable by society. If you fat shame somebody or body shame somebody, in my eyes, I see that as a form of insecurity from your perspective.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like we are becoming insecure to fit into a criteria of insecurity.
Right. And But
there are tons of women who are getting their body done and still getting shamed because that's from insecurity. You don't love yourself.
Literally.
I personally do not view a woman getting plastic surgery or Botox or BBL as her not loving herself. I think that can be a form of self-love, but a lot of people see it as she has insecurities and before I just want to affirm you before right. It is very hard and it's very uncomfortable to share your story because this is us conversation, but people will be watching,
right?
And so I understand the hesitation, and I just want to say that everybody just wants to be loved. Everybody wants to feel loved. As people in general, you want to feel handsome, you want to feel pretty,
right?
It's just something that people want to feel. So don't ever feel for a second that what you're saying is just so irrational or illogical. Everybody has that same feeling, right?
Was that too sweet for
No.
No, that would be too sweet for me. I'm like, girl, stop doing that.
No, I'm not doing that.
You know what I'm doing?
Can I add something?
You can add something.
Right? And we've talked about this before, right? It is not something new that humans seek validation, right? But the issue lies when it comes to insecurity is that where you are seeking the validation from.
Right.
Who you are seeking the validation from.
Hold on.
Let me finish.
Yes.
Let me finish, right? I have dealt with insecurity. I don't know. Because me as a person, I'm very much, you get what you get. And
Don't have to fit.
Look, I was smart when I was chunky. I got skinnier. I'm still smart. If I blew back up, blew back down, blueberry, Twix, I'm gonna be smart regardless. So that's just always been my perspective. But I am so sure in saying this, it is because who I seek that validation from allows me to be like that, right? So tonight you have people that love you.
Right.
Everybody at this table loves you. You have a support system of people who will ride or die for you.
Based off of that,
no matter, pudge or not.
Right.
So I don't want to, put you, this is not a therapy session, but I think for listeners in general who deal with insecurities, who deal with a lack of self-esteem, it is not rare that people seek validation. But I think as people, we take for granted those sources who are constantly telling you, you are beautiful. you are loved, you are appreciated.
That leads me to that question you was small.
Like,
People
say
try
that.
to
Right.
I feel like a lot, and you know, my dad talks about it. I know what I like and what I don't like, but I feel like a lot of times people try to say it before other people say it.
Right.
So it's like the
takes the
impact
sting
is
out.
less.
Take
it
it
takes the sting out.
Nobody's even thinking
It's
about
like
that.
no, you brought up a whole nother factor nobody was considering.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But I feel like that's when in spaces where you display it. Now, if you generally like, I don't like this, I'm not posting this picture. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. Like if it's literally something you don't like it, you don't like it. But I feel like, you know, when you're in spaces and you're portraying, like if your caption is like, my head is big, but here y'all go. Like,
Right. Like, that's not really cute to me.
But tonight, and then I'm gonna pass it to you because I know you're next, and I just got to get this out.
Go ahead.
Right, and I really want to emphasize this because I feel like people really take advantage and take for granted of people who are in their space who are constantly affirming them. Right, when you hear your parents or your mom say something like, "No, you're beautiful," right? I think our minds are like, "Oh, you're my mom. You're supposed to say that."
Right.
Which I don't think many people realize that that's not, you know, in an ideal world, yes, but everybody doesn't get that. You know, you know, my mom's mom died when she was 12. You know, who was there to tell her that she was beautiful? She didn't have that opportunity. So we take for granted the people who are constantly there affirming us, and we seek the validation from people who could give a flying flip about us.
And I think also
for people who have literally the
Zero
smallest
impact.
impact in our lives.
Right.
For people like our parents, people like our friends who have been here for day one, we listen and we're like, oh no, but I'm this, but I'm that, but I'm that. And we take for granted what they say
Right.
all the time. And if you accept the validation that you have probably been receiving your whole life from people who actually matter, watch your life is going to change.
Right.
Watch your self-esteem is going to rise.
That's how they feel
Or
good
they
about
seek without
themselves.
jealousy.
But I think
Right.
broken people, especially those who enjoy a pity party, can pick people out. And the thing is, when we talk about situations like this, it's always set up to make people think like, oh, people out here are vicious. They out here preying on insecure girls. No, if you are insecure yourself, and the way that you get over that is by making other people feel like crap, subconsciously you pick people out like this. And it's literally, if we research the psychology of it, you can tell. You can literally tell. And it's like with trauma, like when you've experienced something and you see somebody else who's experienced, you can almost tell that person
It's going
has a similar experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I want to take
Weird as it's strange that it's happening.
That's
I'm not
another
sure.
topic for another day.
Jealousy is a whole different
Yeah, we're getting off
podcast.
track. Right? Connecting it right back to insecurities, right? And social standards, because there is a link between the two, right?
Right.
We are dealing with seeking validation from people who are doing the exact same thing. So, you know, where's the stop? Where's the solution? Especially for high schools, because as Dea said, we are still figuring it out. We're figuring out a lot of things at once, all while trying to be, you know, student leaders.
Right.
That is a heavy burden. Like, our backpacks are full with more than just books. Like, we are not just doing school. We are doing a million things at once.
Still trying to find yourself.
Still trying to find yourself.
We have
So it's
so
like
much
It is such a task.
Literally.
Really.
And we're taking it on.
Right, we're taking it on.
But
which,
you have no other choice but to.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you don't think it's our responsibility to know ourselves?
no, I feel like some people don't pick up the mantle.
I do think that. I do think that.
Just say that.
But at the end of the
At
day,
the same time, I question that because we do have things like identity crisis. We do have
Yes.
things like people who go by the term "I'm a people pleaser" because they
that
present in a way that gets them through life so well that is there really a necessity to figure out who I am really,
Who I am.
right?
So
I don't know if we can make the assumption that at one point you're going to have to deal with it.
Or-
yes, you may become confronted with it sometimes, but we have to define what dealing with it is.
Or
And that's all that matters.
Right.
Period.
And me and you have very, very similar stories now, right? I had almost every reason in the world to be physically insecure. Never was, right? I was chubby, chunky. I had rabbit teeth. It was, my bottom row was jumbled. And never once for a second did I not feel. Look at you. If you go to my Snapchat and just scroll the memories.
The memories
memory
are
of
dark.
a year ago today, they be popping up. I said you could not tell
It beat him
me
3 years ago for me.
Yeah. 4 years ago. 5.
I'm like, you could not tell me that I wasn't fine. And I really thought I was.
Right.
And there were girls who talked about me. There were, situations that happened where people tried to bring me down. But I have always been a person to where I know nothing happens by accident. And that humans are systems. And systems have processes.
Ooh.
Girl.
Hold on.
Right?
Say that one more time.
What's up with the words?
Say that.
That humans are systems, right? Systems have processes.
Correct.
Meaning that there is a start and a journey to whatever end result that I'm seeing now, right? So if you are talking about me, let's go back in the link chain, as you said, and figure out where this is coming from, right? Either you have something going on at home, your boyfriend thinks I'm cute.
It's always
That's none of your business, man.
True story.
your business, not mine.
Right? There is always some ulterior source. It is never just, I really just don't like her body, or I really just don't like how she presents. It is always, and I hate to say this, I mean, it's true. Humans are naturally selfish. So it will always, in some way, form, or fashion, connect back to their own personal story. That's why I never got mad. I never did. There's nothing to fight about. There's nothing to argue about. Because I know the real reason behind what is happening. So physically, I have never, and I will never, allow somebody to make me feel less than, because it goes back to what Jayla said. I'm literally the physical manifestation of my mother and my father.
Come on.
I am a gift from God.
No,
never will I ever second guess my being. Now, internal insecurities are so real, and for people who have been told all their life that they are gifted,
Right.
that is it can become a huge burden.
It is.
People take your potential and where they could see you, and they place it on you every second of the day. So when you have a moment of humanity where you are lazy, or you just don't want to do it, or you are
tired
in 6th grade and you're like, is this actually what I want to do? Like, I know I'm good at it, but is this what I want to do with my life? And people are like, people who love you see your potential so much that it becomes frustrating for them, and now you feel like crap because you're frustrating people that you love.
Right.
That's where I develop insecurities. I'm like, I know I have gifts. I know that I'm gifted. I know that I'm intelligent.
Right.
Do I have what it takes to make that mean something?
Right.
Because you can have it all day. There are tons of people who have passed, or who are walking around right now, who have so much, but the world will never know. Because they are not doing what it takes to make that mean something.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody has it. Everybody has the willpower to make your gifts mean something. But it takes discipline, and it takes process. And if you do not have the proper surroundings, like we were talking about earlier, you and others will destroy yourself.
Right.
So I have always, physically, like I said, never will I ever, never have I ever. But when it comes to my internal insecurities, my insecurities come in the form of questioning. I make sure to check myself, like, you did this good, but it could have been better. And you will not rest, and you will not stop. And people, Jayla, you drill yourself too hard. You're going too hard. You're already doing more than, the average teen and all of that. And I'll never hear it. It'll always go in one ear and out the other, because I have, and that's the thing. Insecurities do have a negative nature, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like there can be a positive nuance there.
Yeah.
If you allow, I'm like, I feel insecure when I am not one of the strongest in the room.
And that's when the jealousy comes.
And so, and to ensure that I don't feel that way, because I don't like how that feels, I will always be one of the strongest in the room.
Exactly.
Use those things that happen naturally, like insecurities, to put you on top.
Right.
That is always my point.
Right.
Real quick, I'm sorry, but
And I want to thank Jonah. You're such a role model, and I hope that you know that, because imagine how many people who are in your same position who really did not have time to figure out who I really am. Right. You have found a way to know who you are, and navigate through life with all the obstacles. I could not imagine seeing the disposition of somebody who still is struggling to find themselves, and everything being thrown at them. And it is so true. people cannot catch a break. You and still to this day, I know, and it makes me so mad because you're a good person, and there are people out here who fundamentally, from a humane standpoint, can be deemed as not a good person.
Right.
But simply because of a way somebody presents, whether that is race, gender, sexuality, you have to endure so much more than what you should be enduring.
Right.
If that makes sense. So I want you to know that you are literally a role model, and somebody watching right now was just empowered by the words you presented, and to see you in one piece right now, advocating for yourself and for others. I'm teary-eyed. Y'all see me.
Yeah. So and I also wanted